prepare in advance and put everything in a little foil. Two vegetables, a little lemon juice, oil, your fish, whatever your fish is, some herbs, and then, close the foil, put it in the fridge, and the next night when you come home, you put it in the oven for 12 minutes and your whole meal is cooked. You have no pots to clean, and you have everything in that pouch. And cooking au papillote is really something that my American fans, especially because we do it a lot in France, have discovered and realized how easy it is. So you really have no excuse for cooking.
I love also the part where you say shop on a need-to-eat basis. I think this is another key. There were so many keys in the book because a lot of people shop for the week. I shop on a need-to-eat basis every other day.
Yes, it's important because, and you see it, I visited many homes in different countries, and when I see the waste in people's fridge, I mean, vegetables, they don't keep their vitamins, and they're not fresh. Some people say, I go to the supermarket twice a month, and I'm like, I would throw that in the garbage. And today, there's so many markets. I'm here today in San Francisco, and just down the street, there's a farmer's market. And, I went there and probably bought my last raspberries of the seasons. But, they were cut, they were picked this morning or yesterday. They're fresh, they're good. And they had all these vegetables, cabbages and bok choy and all kinds of potatoes and greens and all kinds of, a dozen types of tomatoes. And this is the food people should eat. And you don't need to eat a lot of food. So you can save, people think that cheap food is cheap. Well, it is cheap, and it's also volume, but it's also mostly bad. And you're much better off buying, small portions and trying to buy better food and fresh food. Cost a little bit more, it seems, but once you learn how to eat and how to enjoy, you will eat much less because, nobody needs this kind of 5,000 calories a day that so many people eat. I mean, I watch people at terraces of restaurants today, and I couldn't believe the portions. It's just like not, the food industry and television has tried to convince people what a portion is, and it's 3 times what a normal portion is. So we have to re-educate people and children to eat, small quality and enough vegetables and fruit, which are so vital to your health.
Speaking of children, so many children in America don't know how to cook, don't know how to prepare food, don't know how to select food from, let's say, an open-air market, or how to find an open-air market with their family.
No, I know. I was, in one of the books, I described how I was with a television team in New York at the Union Square Market, and we were asking kids, showing them an apple, and they didn't know what it was, but they knew apple pie from McDonald's. That's what I mean by no connection with food. You see, this is not where you start. So first, these kids have to touch the apple, smell it, and eat a fresh apple.
How do you feel about the genetically modified foods?
Well, of course, I'm French, so I'm against it. We fight for it.
Thank God. Thank God you're fighting to keep it out.
Even if some people said, we don't really know yet if it's that bad or whatever. But let's grow real food,
Exactly.
Good soil and good weather, and we're so lucky we live in countries where there's plenty of good reasons to have good farming, and let's not just produce all these fake types of food.
The farmers markets now are becoming a little bit more prevalent in California.
Yeah, everywhere. I mean, there are now something like 4,000 markets in the U.S. I mean, I know it's not enough, but it's huge from 20 years ago when I arrived, and people didn't even know what a market was until they went to France. And in France, we just couldn't, every town you go, I mean, in Paris included, you wouldn't even think of not going to the market at least a couple of times a week.
And the open-air markets, that's the basic type of market there in Provence and Paris? They're
yes,
open
but
air.
now they're doing, the farmers are doing even better, and I think it's starting in the U.S. as well. But in France, there's this panier, which means a basket, and even in Paris, you have points of delivery where the farmers, instead of selling to the supermarket or hypermarket, because they keep their food for 1 or 2 weeks, and it's not that fresh either. And also to benefit from, to make a little bit more money, they would, you subscribe to it, and every week you get a basket. And I've seen it with young friends. It's a wonderful formula because on one hand, it obliges you to be creative, because you don't know what you're going to get. You're going to get for €15 or €20, about $20, a basket filled of vegetable and food of whatever the farmer has ready that week. And so, it's kind of a surprise. I mean, obviously the seasons, more or less, but you don't know this week if you're going to get carrots or leeks or what. And my friends say that, the children get very excited and love to look up for recipe and play with that. And I think it's a wonderful formula. And that way the farmer delivers it to a center and you come and pick it up. And it's very good value, of course, because if you had to pay for that food in a supermarket, you'd probably get a third of it. And it's great for the farmers as well. So I hope it develops, and I hope people, take the time to go and do it.
On page 77 of French Women Don't Get Fat, you say, what's a luxury to Americans is often a necessity to the French.
Yes.
Explain that to the audience. I thought that was really interesting.
Well, we're very demanding for our food. And so we don't think that having the quality and having the freshness and all that is a luxury. It's like normal to us because, of course, we've had a few hundred years of gastronomy, and we are a country rich, although it's decreasing now. But we've always had lots of farms and freshness locally, so that even in Provence, I mean, many things that I ate in my little village, like the cheese from the farmer around the corner, doesn't get even to Paris because he doesn't make enough. So he sells it to a few stores and the market, and that's it. So people come from New York or London or, and they think this is a luxury. But we said, well, no, it's something that we feel it's part of our life, and we want it there. We want to continue that. So we support the farmers, even if it means, and it's true that French people spend much more a month on food than any other culture in the developed countries.
I never knew that.
Oh yeah. For us, it's we'll rather have good bread, a glass of wine, and all that than buy ourselves another bag or another belt or whatever. It's eating is just, as I said, too many pleasures. It's part of our life, and it's very, very important for our families. So good food is a necessity.
And you also say that every meal is actually special, and cooking is a part of the culture.
Yes, and we don't waste. Like I think in so many places you see so much food wasted. And first of all, we eat much smaller portions, but we don't waste anything, And like some of my guests sometimes are surprised that at the end of the day, I don't throw away the baguette. I slice it and I freeze it, and the next morning I toast them, and they have toasted bread. And they say, well, that's like stale bread from yesterday. I said, yes, and it's good for you. First of all, it's more digestible, toasted, and I wouldn't throw bread. It's something very precious. We don't, and that probably comes from, our parents who went through the war, and there's a history to a connection to all these rituals, of course.